Forget staying up late or staying awake through the day. Wildcard weekend single-handedly cured my jet lag from traveling cross country, cross Atlantic. These games might have been the best straight football that I have watched in my life. I'm going to go in order because that's the easiest way to go through it. Saturday night, Rams versus Carolina. If you didn't know, if you didn't follow my Substack, please follow my Substack. I was a big proponent of divisional champions should still get into the playoffs, but they don't deserve a home playoff game. And while I agree they don't deserve a home playoff game, this shows why they should have one. It's a contradictory opinion, but watching Carolina, we all know if that game was in SoFi, they might have been favored. The Rams might have been favored by 15, but the game wouldn't be in the balance. There wouldn't need a game-winning drive by Matthew Stafford. That was simply sensational. The Panthers teams are like 0-11 when 10-point underdogs. The Panthers are now 2-1 and they've covered every time. It's insane. I think this year for the Panthers was a magical year, but still being 8-9, technically ending 8-10. I don't think you should extend Bryce Young. I call me a madman from watching that game. I think that game earned Bryce Young his fifth-year option. You have to remember that last week they literally lost a win in your in game. They got help by the Falcons. It was weird. I weirdly called the game in my group chat. I said, the Rams, they do this all the time. In every game, they show up. They might go up 14-0, and you might think this is the best team in football, and then end up in a dogfight. They did it against the Eagles. They did it against the Panthers today. They do it against I think they did it against the Niners, and then it's always just a game. So I think maybe this was a game. This was the type of game that they do technically lose, but since the talent advantage is just, who is it, like four of the five best players are on the Rams. Puka Nacua is ridiculous. Every time he flexed, I laughed. If you know, you know. But the Rams are probably favored to beat the Bears. We'll get to that game soon. I just don't see it. I'm losing confidence in the Rams. I think I just see the same thing. They have a great... Their halves aren't quite like the Eagles where they just go dormant, but they'll have a quarter where, like, after they just like drove down the field for 17 points in 3 drives, they just won't score again till the second half. And if I could find the text, I'm pretty sure it said something along the lines of, I see the Rams going up 14-0 and then not scoring till the third quarter. They went up 14-0 and it was 17-7 and then it was 20-17. So it was along the same lines, and I'm weirdly, I'm out on the Rams. If they make the Super Bowl, put egg on my face, but I'm out on the Rams. I think they're an amazing team and they can win the Super Bowl. I just don't like when they do stuff like that. Back on the Panthers side, please do not extend Bryce Young. I want to make it abundantly clear. Please do not extend Bryce Young. Bryce Young is shown something, but to extend Bryce Young, when I said that, I'm thinking he's probably going to demand $50 million if you extend him. I don't think he's going to extend for $35 million. Maybe if you can get him at $40 million. But even then, a fifth-year option just to find out, because he'll go into year 4 in kind of a prove-it year, then year 5 at maybe $40 million, and you'll see. But you can't pay Robert Hunt and your left guard, I'm sorry I forgot his name, to make plays for you. You can't pay in due time Jalen Coker, Tet, J.C. Horn again, Mike Jackson, who's picked off Matt Stafford twice now. You just can't pay those guys if you pay Bryce Young $40 million, and that's I don't know if he's worth 40 plus $50 million, but I've always been wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm gonna keep pushing because I don't have a lot of time. But Packers Bears on Amazon Prime. I went to Nigeria over Christmas, so I missed both Packers Bears games. And every single snap that I watched of this game, I just said, why did I lose the luxury of watching these two teams play 2 more times? I just genuinely, I sat there and said in a funny joke, looked over to my friends and said, is Caleb Williams a top 3 Bears quarterback of all time with this win? Get into the semantics later. It's just the fact that that's a conversation. He has the franchise record in yards in a season with 3,900. It was hilarious. The Packers went up 21-3. They looked unstoppable, and then Bears hunkered down. Dennis Allen made adjustments. I think I love great offensive minds getting smart defensive coordinators. But can we talk about how great offensive minds, how do I word this? We always get on defensive coordinators for being inept on offense. Like they can't really, their offensive coordinator, if they ever get a good one, they're going to get poached into a head coaching job. But we can't seem to get defensive coordinators to understand the offensive side of the ball, or their offense can't be consistent. What is with these offensive coordinators and absolutely garbage special teams? If I have to see, Brandon McManus should not be employed by the Green Bay Packers. Not because of what he did last night or Saturday night. I believe that he should have never gotten his job back for Lucas Haversick. If you don't know, Lucas Haversick was the kicker when Brandon McManus went out with a quad injury. He was very consistent and broke their franchise record for longest made field goal. And then when Brandon McManus came back, it was a competition. I know Brandon McManus he was a franchise kicker at one point. But this season he wasn't. He wasn't consistent. He didn't deserve the chance to fight for his spot back at that moment because of how well Haversick was playing. And it ended up costing them. They lost by 4. He missed a field goal and an extra point when they needed him the most. You look up on TikTok and a bunch of people are blowing his kick sideways. It seems like the league is getting burned. Them and the Colts have both been getting burned by trading first-round picks for non-quarterbacks, while the Packers aren't too burned because their quarterback didn't get hurt, and I believe they'll bounce back and they're going to be good. The Colts did, and that's a later topic. If we're going to stay on this conversation of the Bears, Packers, I think this win solidified a successful season for the Bears, because as a Bears fan, drawing the Packers in the first round made a first round loss impossible. You couldn't lose in the first round, because if your best season in 15 years came to losing to the Packers, Bears fans might not be able to mentally recover from that loss. And also you got Alex Bregman in the point of this game. I wonder if that changed there's a funny butter knife to that. I'm pretty sure they were down 21-6 or 21-15 when Bregman got signed by the Cubs. So that was interesting. But back on the Bears, you couldn't lose this game. You couldn't find avenue to explain like, oh yeah, we had our best season, we won the NFC North, and we still lost to the Packers when it meant the most. So what happens when the Lions are good again? The Vikings went 9-8, and then the Packers are 9-7-1. Like, what are we gonna do when everyone else is better? But now you had the most successful season in the NFC North. It's an absolute amazing turnaround by Ben Johnson, and he somehow is the only offensive mind without a dog-awful special team. So on to Sunday's games, aka yesterday's games. Jaguars, Bills, 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter, tied for the most in playoff history. Tied with yesterday's Rams-Panthers game. This weekend was truly something. It was something special. I promise you did not want to miss wildcard weekend, and it's not even over yet. I feel bad for the Jaguars. You saw that clip of the reporter cheering up Liam Cohen. Heart breaks for the Jaguars. Josh Allen is simply not human. He was 0-5 in road playoff games before now. Home field advantage really does matter. And let me sit you down when we say this. Home field really does matter. We just saw it with the Panthers. We saw it with the Bears. The Bears, if not for that game being in Soldier Field, they don't win that. If not for the game being in Carolina, Carolina's probably not even close in that game. And that matters. That stuff matters, home field. So when teams rest their Week 18 starters because they don't want the 2 seed, it's 2 home playoff games matters a lot, okay? I know keeping people healthy is important, but 2 home playoff games matters a great deal. But back to the game, Josh Allen is not human. That tush push, I honestly thought it was a touchdown. I saw him, he kind of got rolled over. It was close, but I'm no official. 300 total yards, 3 total touchdowns. He was just the best player on the field. Their run game wasn't, I think they had like 57 yards rushing or something. It was on Josh Allen, and he came through. And I think he's going to be favored in Denver, which is so funny. The line was originally favored for the Bills this game, and then it was 1.5 Bills, got all the way to 2, I think, and then it flipped last minute to the Jaguars. There's not really much to say except Josh Allen's he was just the best player on the field. And when you have the best player on the field, you can win any game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have no receivers. It doesn't matter if you're running for your life. You can win one game with the best player on the field. Now the meat and potatoes of this video. The 49ers beat the Eagles, and man, oh man, there is no place like playing in Philly. I talked about how home field advantage matters and how you want to play multiple home playoff games if you want to. I might want to take that back for Philly. Philly does not want to play at home at all. Anytime something goes south, they get booed. It was a 1-point game and they went to go punt and they got booed off the field in a playoff game. Win or go home, do or die. The reason they got booed is because the fans have been watching all season. They've been good for a half, and then they'll go a half with net negative passing yards. You have net negative passing yards. That's what Justin Fields does. That's what the Jets do. That's not what the Eagles do. They lead the league in 3 and outs. They're playing for punts and playing for punts, setting up field position game. That's what losing teams do. I'm sorry. Losing teams talk about field position. I get weirdly testy when I talk about the Eagles because it's a play calling thing. It was a play calling thing. I saw so many people talk about mundane route concepts. The joke about Saquon up the middle, AJ Brown deep ball. That's what the game plan was. Saquon got hurt, and you saw Kevin Patullo's eyes just shake against a defense that had no one. Robert Saleh was coaching his mind off, but you can't lose to that defense. And you can't let Demarcus Robinson go crazy. Oh my. I had Christian McCaffrey in fantasy. I very much watched a lot of 49ers games. Demarcus Robinson did not have a good season. I never said he wasn't a good player. But this season, he was not good. I have never seen that man act like that. So, to get Demarcus Robinson to cook your defense, your all-pro corners, when you needed them the most, it was just, but they only scored 23 points at the end of the day. When you have the most expensive offense of all time, and you only need 24 points, and you can't muster... It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to watch. AJ Brown probably played his last game in Philly. I don't think he wants to play in Philly. I don't think Philly fans after that game, after those drops, really want him at all, which is really funny and a really sad way to end it after coming off a Super Bowl. But there's not a lot of places like Philly where they just don't care about that Super Bowl anymore. Kevin Patullo will be fired today. And if I can backtrack, Matt LaFleur could be fired today. We heard tweets and we heard rumblings about Matt LaFleur talking about a contract extension after the year. I don't think he is. I think he could be fired. If John Harbaugh's available right now, and you don't think that the Packers organization sees that John Harbaugh is available, and the chances of them being able to go get him, they probably already sent a memo to his agent, Mr. Harlan, and said, would John Harbaugh want to come to Green Bay? And if he says yes, they will fire Matt LaFleur on the spot. Matt LaFleur is a genius coach. But 7 seed, 7 seed, 7 seed, people have been fired for more. They've been fired for more. And we move over to the last game, Chargers Pats. I know I said this this weekend cured my jet lag. I was tired. I knew what was going to happen. It was 6-3 at halftime. I tucked myself in. I watched the game, and I watched Justin Herbert get absolutely run over. We all should know this by now when the right side of your offensive line are the worst center, right guard, and right tackle in football. I'm kind of glad the Chargers didn't win because I didn't want to see Nick Bonito get 9 sacks in Denver. There's just no way that team can hold up in the playoffs, killing Justin Herbert like that. It's not their fault, so to speak. I think Mekhi Becton was a very good guard when he was in Philly, but when you're asked, when he was hurt all year and Joe Alt was hurt and Rashawn Slater was hurt, you get 2 franchise tackles and you get your right guard a little bit better, and your team might be significantly better. You saw once they lost Joe Alt, Arondé Gatson couldn't do much because he has to spend all his time chipping, blocking. His route concepts diminish. He's not a blocker. So we'll see if they can keep their team healthy, if they can keep their tackles healthy next year. That team is going to be one hell of a team. That defense is one hell of a defense. They held the Pats to 16 points. What a season for Drake May, too. I think this win, a playoff win, stamps your season and says valid. There's no shame in losing to Tomlin in a playoff game, a team you've already lost to, or losing to the Texans, who everyone thinks the Texans might win the AFC. I don't see it, but that game is tomorrow. In my look ahead for that, I want the Steelers to win. I don't want that to be Aaron Rodgers' last game. I want Aaron Rodgers to go on a run to a conference championship. I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers for 2 more weeks, at least in his postseason career. I have a fantasy championship because of that man. I didn't have him on my team, but that's neither here nor there. I covered 5 games in 20 minutes. If you really enjoyed this video, sure leave a like. I will be covering more videos, more sports a week now that I am back in my apartment. I think it will more be 2 to 3 a week, and if it's not 2 to 3 a week, you might see 2 to 3 topics clumped together for a longer video. So I definitely will be getting to more things on my Substack. That is, I think there's something written as we speak, ready to be posted. So I'll catch y'all soon.